Welcome to the AI Research Roundup. I'm Alex, and today we're looking at a paper from the Hugging Face Trending List, published on July 14, 2025, about 2 days ago. This paper reveals a really big performance gap between AI and human experts, with the best open source model, QN 2.5 VL72B, only hitting about 61.6% accuracy, while humans scored 89%. The paper is titled, Can Multimodal Foundation Models Understand Schematic Diagrams? An Empirical Study on Information-Seeking QA over Scientific Papers. And as we'll see, the way these models handle unanswerable questions is particularly revealing. This paper introduces a new benchmark called MIS-QA to specifically test how models can interpret complex diagrams in scientific literature. Also, the authors shared their work on GitHub. If you want to experiment, you'll find the complete MIS-QA benchmark. It includes all the evaluation scripts and instructions for running inference with your own models, which is fantastic for anyone wanting to test their systems on this specific diagram understanding task. Alright, so this first figure gives a great overview of the MIS-QA benchmark itself. The core task is shown right at the top. An AI is given a scientific paper with a complex schematic diagram. Then it's asked a question about a specific highlighted part of that diagram. The model has to interpret the visual and answer using the full context of the paper. The AIs being tested here are called Multimodal Foundation Models, which are large systems designed to process both text and images together. The diagram then lays out the study's key research questions. Moving on, this next table really clarifies what makes the MIS-QA benchmark so unique. It compares MIS-QA against other existing datasets for scientific understanding. You can see other benchmarks focus either on simple charts of experimental results or on text-only papers. But MIS-QA is different. It's the first one to use a schematic diagram, which is a kind of conceptual map or flowchart showing a system's design, and the full paper text as the input. This combination tests a much deeper, more holistic kind of understanding, which is why it's such a challenging task. This table then details the different kinds of questions those human experts created, which are called information-seeking scenarios. It shows that the benchmark doesn't just ask one type of question. Instead, it covers 5 distinct areas, like asking for the design rationale or the why behind a choice, implementation details or the how, and even questions about literature background and experimental results. This variety is key. It ensures the models are being tested on a really broad range of reasoning skills, not just simple lookup tasks. So, drilling down into one of the most interesting parts of the benchmark design, these charts show how different models handle those intentionally unanswerable questions. These are called confusion matrices, which are basically scorecards that show how often a model's prediction matches the real answer. Here, the prediction is whether the question can be answered at all. The key thing to notice is the bottom left box for each model, which shows how often it tried to answer a question that was actually unanswerable. This overconfidence, where models invent answers, is a major weakness the study found. Okay, and this table lays out the hard numbers, really quantifying that performance gap. At the very top, you can see the human expert baseline, scoring a solid 89% overall. Below that are the models, split into 2 groups, proprietary ones like GPT 4.1 and various open source models. The results are pretty stark. The best proprietary model, O4 Mini, reaches 78.3%. But the top open source model is far behind at just 61.6%. This highlights a huge gap and reinforces that overconfidence issue, especially when you look at the low scores in the unanswerable column. So to wrap things up, what this all shows is a clear and significant gap between current models and human experts when it comes to understanding scientific diagrams. These multimodal foundation models, which are large AIs trained to process both text and images together, still struggle to connect the visual information in a schematic diagram with the detailed context of a paper. They also tend to be overconfident, often inventing answers to unanswerable questions. The MIS-QA benchmark gives researchers a fantastic tool to help close this gap. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Research Roundup. I'm your host, Alex.